Hi there. I'm Matt Leger. You may know me from nothing. This little silly intro. Gotta switch things up, Keep it fresh. So today we're talking about a relatively straightforward yet complex topic, which is confronting the boogeyman. Now, okay, there's the boogeyman, the face value boogeyman. There's the boogeyman that many of us had from our childhood. There's the actual legend of the boogeymen. There are men that like to boogie. But really what we're talking about here, I've heard it put two different ways recently. It was just phrased brilliantly, better than I ever could. Someone put it as the monster under the bed, so the boogeyman under the bed that we're afraid to confront, to face, which is essentially, it's not just our shadow side, but it's our fear in general, our sense of fear. And fear can manifest itself, as you know, in all kinds of crazy ways. You wouldn't even believe the different forms that fear can take. Fear can obviously lead you to do certain things, to behave in a certain way, or to not behave in a certain way, or to avoid behaving in a certain way, right? So it kind of goes both ways. But the idea is that we want to face the fear. We want to face the monster under the bed, be brave, be courageous, and just confront it. Today I heard the same version. It's funny when you're aligned, when you're on the right path, and it's not to speak to the difficulty of the path or not, or how challenging it is. It doesn't speak to that at all. But when one is on the right path, or one of the right paths, it's self-evident. You just know, because things line up, there's synchronicities everywhere, and you keep seeing the same message that you're trying to receive. You keep seeing it show up in patterns in different places, on TV shows and books that you read. People that you talk to just randomly bring it up, but as we know, nothing is random. But another one that I heard just today was, it's like a tornado, right? It's like a tornado that's chasing you. And I'm not going to quote these folks. I'm not going to give them credit here or cite them, because I can't remember their names, and I don't want to be, unfair to one and not so, fair to the other. Anyway, so imagine there's a tornado chasing you, right? The natural instinct is to run away as fast as you can, get away from this thing. But when it comes to addressing our emotions, be it anger, sadness, depression, even anxiety, that's not exactly an emotion, but you get what I'm saying. We want to face these things. We want to be brave, and we want to endure it. We want to welcome it. We want to embrace whatever it is that life, the universe, God, nature wants to give us. We accept. We may not like it. We don't have to like it. Quite honestly, that's not a requirement. If you don't like it, in some circumstances, that might actually help you. But of course, we're not looking to nest in any sort of a negative space. But the idea is that you got to turn around and just face the tornado. You can't keep running away from it. You're not going to learn anything from that. You're not going to get anywhere with this progress if you just keep evading it. It's like life is bringing you lessons, and you keep, no, not right now, or I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this right now, maybe I never want to do it. You can't keep rejecting the lessons that life brings you. Otherwise, we know that results in repeating the same cycle, whether it's in this life or the next one, or maybe 1,000 lifetimes in a row. We don't know. But it's safe to say that if we don't learn our lesson the first time, that lesson is likely going to repeat and repeat and repeat until we do get it, until we do learn that lesson. And the harder the lesson, it doesn't mean that it's going to take more time necessarily, or that it's going to be even more difficult. It's just not turning away, not shying away from it, okay? Welcoming it, not going out of your way, right, to bring challenging opportunities to your life. And some friends of mine have helped me to understand that these are not issues, these are not really challenges, they're opportunities. They're opportunities for growth, opportunities to learn, opportunities to better your situation in some way. And a lot of the times you have to go through it in order to get to the other side. You can't circumnavigate the whole concept, right? It really has nothing to do with the destination. It has to do with the journey, right? We say that for so many things. But the idea is you gotta just stop. First of all, stop. Just stop. Stop running away. And trust me, I'm not coming across here as an expert or telling you what to do, like, because I know better, okay? Everything I say, if you don't know me, if you don't know this channel, everything I say applies to myself equally, right? I would never tell anyone else what to do if it's not something that I embody myself, right? So stop. Just stop, right? I'll even talk to myself right now. Matt, just stop. Just stop, brother, okay? Now, when you're in a full-fledged emotional crisis or an explosion of emotion, telling someone to stop, probably not going to go over very well. But you know, right? You know, and they know that it's the right thing to do. Because going down that path further is not going to end well. It's going to result in emotional or possibly even physical harm to someone. We don't want that. We want to avoid that at all costs. That's what we want to avoid. We don't want to avoid confronting the emotion, but we want to avoid the damage or the wrongs or the harm that may result from not confronting those perceived negative emotions, right? So stop, then simply turn around and face it head on, right? The way she explained it in the video that I was watching, the tornado version of this, is that you just let it consume you. Just let yourself get inside of it and let it sort of wash over you. Let it run its course, and then you'll be amazed at how quickly it just disappears. And from the other source that I learned from with this kind of stuff, they were saying that you really only have to feel the emotion once, and it's so true. If you get it the first time, why would you need to repeat the same lesson over and over again? Once you get it, you got it, it's good. You don't ever have to do it again. That's the whole idea. And yes, granted, some mistakes, some things we do require multiple reminders or multiple attempts to get it right. That's fine. That's not what I'm talking about here. It's if we really lean into it and turn into it fully, right? We only need to go through that thing once. That should be enough. Maybe twice. If you really need to solidify it, go through it again, right? There's something that can be said for repeating exposure to a healthy degree, but like 1-2 times max, you're done. You've learned your lesson. You faced the tornado. It washed over you, and then you realize I'm okay. I'm still here. I'm fine. I wasn't in any danger after all. It may have been uncomfortable at times, but it's past now, and it's gone, and I feel better, right? Versus running away from it, distracting yourself, self-medicating, whatever you do to avoid having to confront these uncomfortable feelings. It's only going to get worse. It's only going to build up more and more and more until you have some sort of a completely inappropriate breakdown or an explosion. And that's again what we want to try to avoid. By addressing it immediately, not ever pushing it down, not ever putting it aside and compartmentalizing it unless we absolutely have to. If we're in some type of a weird, a sticky social setting, Okay, you might have to put it aside for that moment, but then revisit it as soon as possible and go back into it and finish feeling that thing. You know? It seems so obvious, but when you're in these tumultuous moments, not as easy to apply this sort of knowledge. But hey, just like when you tell someone to stop, right? You know it's the right thing to do. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but it is the right thing to do. So, confront that boogeyman, find that monster under your bed, stare it in the face, get to know it. If it shares some similarities with your shadow, then embrace it. And I would say embrace it regardless. Give that monster a big hug. Jump right into that tornado. Let it carry you away. Maybe you'll end up in Oz, huh? Maybe you'll end up somewhere else. And in all likelihood, if you're really in a bad spot, which usually when these things happen you are, it'll be a better place. You'll be surrounded with munchkins. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed that and you caught what I was trying to say there. It's a really powerful skill. It's insanely powerful because whatever comes in, whatever you're receiving, first of all, you're accepting that it's what you need and that we're all getting what we need in this life, as difficult as that is to accept sometimes. And then we're not shying away from it. We're not running away from it. We're not distracting ourselves. And it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's pain. And I know how tough that is. Trust me. I had a bout of pretty significant body-wide inflammation the other day, and it was bad, like TMJ combined with bad neck pain on the other side of what I usually get, joint and bone pain. You know, I thought I was getting sick, but it was just change in weather or something I ate. I'm not quite sure, but I know that it was kind of what I needed. And yes, I recognize how difficult that is to wrap your head around sometimes, especially when we're getting things like diseases. But we have to also understand that these are a result of environmental damage and stress that we've done to our bodies, our physical bodies and our spiritual bodies, our emotional bodies. Stress is a killer, right? As is poor nutrition, lack of sleep. All these things accumulate. I forget where I saw it, but recently they were saying how, you know, if we didn't have these extra stress factors on top of just living, and we weren't exposed to all the crap that we are, all the radiation, all the electromagnetic signals and whatever else, 5G, if we weren't exposed to these things, they were estimating that, you know, human beings could live 150, 160 years. It's not impossible, you know, and that could explain why in a lot of scriptures and other holy texts, people lived a lot longer before than they do now because they weren't exposed to all these environmental factors, right? So there's a lot to consider, but again, we have to default back to we're getting what we need, and then it's just a matter of facing it and working through it, right? It's like a leaf on a stream that you're just watching it go by. And you don't even have to be a passive observer. You can be the leaf. You can be the stream. You can be both. You can be the whole process happening together at once. And that's what it is. That's what it is to be alive. That's what it is to be a man or a woman in this life. So you can see how not embracing that, not leaning into it, would not be living up to your full potential as a man or a woman. Because that's life, right? It wouldn't be life without the whole full spectrum of emotions that are possible. Because that's what gives life the richness and the tapestry that makes it part of what it is. So anyway, before we get more off into the philosophical side of things, I'll wrap it up there. But hopefully you get what I'm saying here, is that it's so important, and it's such a great skill once you start to wrap your head around it and you start to actually apply this to your life on a daily basis. And I'll be the first one to tell you, it's not easy. It's not easy, especially when you're first getting started, because you got to figure it took you years to get into some of these bad habits and these unhealthy ways of thinking. It's gonna probably realistically take years to come out of it, or at least years of giving it your best and your all and your dedication, right? So let's be real. Let's be real with the work that's involved, but also you got to start somewhere. You got to start right now, not tomorrow, not next week. Start doing it right now, right? So the next time an emotion, an unpleasant emotion grips you, stop for a second and then go right into it. Speak what's true and live out of a place of love and deep respect and honesty. And you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed at the changes you see, how quickly it happens. Because we don't have to stay stuck in a rut. We don't have to. The answer is just right there. It's right within your grasp. It's right under your nose. You just got to reach out and grab it. And that's what this is. You're reaching out and you're grabbing it, right? Just like when I get a headache now, I don't immediately go get a Tylenol and pop a Tylenol. I kind of feel the pain a little bit, right? We have this aversion to pain, to anything that we deem unpleasant, right? And it gets to the point where everything that's not pleasant is unpleasant, right? You know what I mean? So in order to know what to do and to give our body a chance to heal, we need to first feel that thing fully, whether it's a headache, lack of sleep, like I said, poor nutrition, whatever it is. It first needs to be felt in order to be fully understood, and only then can we start doing something about it, actively doing something about it. There it is. So if you like that, let me know, and I'll keep reporting on my findings and my experiences as I explore this concept a little further myself in my own life. And yeah, if you have anything to add or to substitute, please do let me know. I wish you well, and I wish you all the best and success in leaning into your emotions and confronting that boogeyman. Sooner or later, you're going to realize that boogeyman is you. So why are you afraid of yourself? Maybe that's the most terrifying thing of all, right? For some of us. So, but you can't be afraid, or you can be afraid, but that can't stop you. You got to feel the fear and do it anyway, right? See you next time.